Settle back now, content, comfortable, well-fed, and ready for some fine entertainment. Is everybody happy? Then let's go. It's showtime.
Welcome to the Cuse Militia Podcast with those two unapologetically biased, orange-blooded homers, Sean and Joe.
Most bullshit thing I've seen in 30 years.
What's up, Cuse Nation? Thanks for tuning in to the Cuse Militia Podcast with Sean and Joe. If you like it, please share it. As always, the universal handle for the socials is at Cuse Militia. Go there. Join the militia. We are the only Syracuse sports podcast centered around giving you, the fans, a voice. Welcome. Happy Saturday afternoon. What a beautiful day it is here in Virginia Beach. And I'm sure it is up north. I think everywhere is beautiful on the East Coast right now. So,
yes, it is.
Yeah. So while you all are out enjoying your day, Joe and I are slaving away inside trying to put together some content for you. We're going to talk a little bit about the 8th verbal commit of the 2021 class that came up this week. And then we're going to have James on. We're just going to have a little bit of fun. We're going to talk about our Syracuse Basketball Mount Rushmore. That'll be fun, I think. We'll see. Got a lot of feedback on that. We'll go over some of yours. So let's have at it. Joe.
Yes.
Landon Morris, 6'5", 210-pound tight end. He's 180th tight end this cycle, according to the composite rankings over at 247 Sports. He chose the orange over Iowa State and UFC. I think he had offers from Michigan and Boston College too. They extended some offers. So, according to Mike McAllister at CuseNation.com, Morris will be a tight end for Syracuse, though he did play wide receiver in high school. So, another offensive position. The I think it's, what is it, the third? Is it the third one of that cycle? Anyway.
They've had, this is the second tight end they've gotten now. They got a receiver.
Oh, so it's a fourth. You're right.
Yeah, so, but this guy is one of those guys that can probably blossom into either or. He's got the frame to become a good tight end, and I think that's what they want to try to do. But he's obviously going to have to work on filling out, putting on some
he's got the height.
Some size.
Yeah, he's got the height.
Yeah, he's got the height. You know, he's got to put on some size. He's got to get good at and consistent at blocking, unless he ends up just becoming one of those just receiver threat type guys on pass downs. But, you know, you really don't like to become predictable when it comes to positions like that, right? Like when you know that guy's in, it's a pass play, that kind of stuff. So, you know, I can see him going to receiver or to tight end. I don't know if he's going to have the speed to become a receiver, but I think if this guy fills out, he can definitely give Syracuse some type of vertical threat that they haven't had in a little while. A lot of their tight ends are more on the blocking end of it. I know Luke Benson, as a true freshman last year, was pretty good as far as going out and catching passes, but this guy is a different type of body, like a guy that can go down the middle, get past, you know, over the linebackers and become a vertical threat to kind of keep those safeties honest. I think that's one of those things that we haven't really had is, you know, if you can get a tight end that can go down the middle and catch some passes and keep those safeties honest, then it makes it easier for the outside receivers as well. So it'd be nice to see if it's something that he could turn into. But, I mean, looking at where he's from and some of the attention that he was getting, it looks to be a pretty good get as far as I'm concerned. I mean, I don't see him coming in and, you know, the first year coming in and really helping too much. I mean, he's still got a year left, so he could fill out, put on some weight, maybe get that special teams, maybe a couple pass plays here and there. But, again, a 3-star guy that he's probably going to redshirt and try to put some weight on. And, hey, you never know.
Yeah. So, I mean, the 2021 class is shaping up. I guess we expect a couple more, obviously, come through.
Yeah. Well, we got some. You never know what's going to happen either with these virtual. You know, you don't know if not being able to. Right. I mean, you don't know if this is helping or hurting, but not being able to go to campus, if you think about it, kind of helps us, right? I mean, it was just snowing last weekend in Syracuse.
Right.
So if they were doing official visits or running camps up in Syracuse and they had kids from all over going up there, granted, they're playing inside probably at Manly or something, but like
it doesn't help,
dude.
It can't help.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So this virtual stuff, who knows? It might help. I mean, we still are in the running for some 4-star guys, some bigger type recruits. I mean,
Yeah, there's another DB, 4-star DB out there.
Yeah, it's 4-star DB. I think there's a linebacker that he played the same high school as one of the guys that we just got, the DN there. The last recruit verbal before this, and even then, George Rooks, who's a really, really kind of high up there defensive tackle out of New Jersey. I mean, he's had 20 offers from Big Ten, ACC, SEC, Notre Dame. I mean, he's got offers from Ohio State, Georgia, Auburn, Michigan. I mean, he's up there. But his father played at Syracuse on the offensive line back in the early 90s. Late 80s, early 90s. So I don't know, man. You know, you have those family legacies where their families played at the Syracuse, and you always hope that has something that can help. You know, he's from Jersey, 4-star. That's a guy to look out for. I don't know if he's gotten down to his last 6 or how far he is in his recruitment, but I know that he is, from everything that I've read, Syracuse is a serious option.
Yeah, well, you hope you can pull those ones in where you've already, you pull in a dude's dad or uncle or whatever, like the Howard Trish, Brandon Trish type thing.
Right.
So, I mean, you
always
can
hope
get
that might help.
Yeah. Well, all right. There was a preferred walk-on, too. He's from Salve, local kid, 6'4", 260-pound defensive lineman, Elijah Wright. So there's that.
Yep.
Big kid. So.
Oh yeah, he's a big kid. A lot of times the preferred walk-ons, those are guys that he probably could have got a lower. I mean, I think in an article I read, he had scholarships to some D1 AA schools and stuff like that. But hey, hometown kid, and if you want to work hard and that's your dream is to go and get a scholarship at your hometown school, then go for it. And if they're going to give you a preferred walk-on, I mean, that just means that you're kind of guaranteed to make the team, and I think that gives you a leg up if there are some extra scholarships. So. He's definitely going to have a chance to earn that scholarship, and like he spoke in his article, he's very versatile, so he doesn't really care one way or another where they want to put him, whether it's D-line, offensive line, or linebacker. So
he just wants to play. I mean,
he just wants to play. He don't care. He's going to show up. He's going to ask the coaches where they see him and what he can do, and he's going to do the best he can. And hey, maybe he'll earn a scholarship along the way.
Yeah, so it's been a minute since we talked about some Syracuse basketball, so we just conjured up something to talk about, and we're gonna bring James.
Well, you did some football too.
I did do some football. We're gonna table the football and bring that back up later. Okay.
Roger that.
I mean, and we got a couple of things to talk about. We can talk about a little bit about this thing with Coach, and see if James got anything new to add that we don't know about. All right, joining us now is the one, the only, Syracuse basketball beat writer for Noon's Magician, our good buddy, James Szuba. James, how you doing, brother?
James.
I'm still alive, man. I'm still alive. I'm here. I've been better. I've definitely been better, but all things considered, could be much worse. So I'm doing okay.
James looks the closest to a caveman I've ever seen him.
Yeah.
So.
I've got a little beard going on, although it's more scruff than beard.
He's got hair coming out of his hat. It's wildly untamed, even with the hat on.
I've gotten a haircut in like 2.5 months.
I started doing my own, right? I never get compliments on my hair.
Yeah, me too.
Joe, you've been doing your own since 8th grade. So, when it started falling out. So, I started doing my own, and I got 2 in, and I'm thinking to myself, I could have saved, who knows how much money at $30 a pop or whatever the hell I was paying, and I'm like, you know what? I think I'm just gonna keep doing my own hair. I mean, what the hell? So, right? I mean, what the hell?
You might be alone in that. I mean, there might be some other guys experiencing the same thing. The ladies, I don't think that'll happen. But there might be some guys that
no, probably not.
Some new things to this.
My wife is like well, we'll get into all this. The Virginia Beach just opened up, and I couldn't be more happy. So they've been doing takeout, like you could do takeout, but they opened up the outside now, so you can sit outside.
Sure.
So, anyways, that's where I'm going tonight, to the local pub that's been shut down
Excellent.
Yes. Shout out to Tailgate
Sure it won't be packed.
Sports Pub in Virginia Beach. Yeah, right. I'm getting a table reserved. I'm a regular there. I get a table reserved. So.
Oh, well, all right.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't know you had a big like that.
I mean, when you live 2 blocks from it, familiar face.
VIP.
Yeah, exactly, James.
So they see the haircut.
Everybody's got their like Cheers place. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, like, everyone's got the place where you go, everybody knows your name, you're comfortable with it, it's your spot. Everybody's got their own little bar.
Yours, the East End.
Nail on the head, right there. East End Bar and Grill, New York City.
So I've been, I've followed them on Twitter before I even knew you went there. I haven't ever really met you because they're kind of a Syracuse bar, right? Yes,
it's actually funny. Like when I first moved to the city, I moved up to like the Upper East Side, and East End was like 2 blocks from me, and it was just like on a whim. And I got there and I realized like it was a Cuse bar. I've gotten to meet the owner, Kenny Bone, great guy. Like if anybody knows Kenny, he's a great guy, great person. So that just kind of like became the spot for like the games that I wouldn't get to. I would just go there. It was 2 blocks, and I'd bring my laptop and write during the game when I wasn't at the games. And obviously I haven't been up there recently, but I still go up there even now. So yeah, that's my spot, man. It's a really good bar.
I can't wait when I come down there, which is going to happen.
Yep.
You mean go up?
Up. Yes, up. Down from Syracuse, up from here. When I go up there,
you don't want to come here for a while though.
Oh yeah, well we know.
It'll be a while.
Freaking ghost town. It's like The Walking Dead up there. So we'll get into all that. So a couple Syracuse things to do. Well, one major one, but I want to ask you first: Is there anything new that we don't know about yet, having to do with Syracuse basketball? Is everything out there? Has the news been that slow? Since
it really has. I mean, we've had a few scheduling things come out.
UMBC.
Yeah, UMBC's come out, so we're starting to get a little bit of the schedule together. Once that's complete, I'm gonna reach out and talk with the Dobo there now and get a little bit more intel on the schedule and kind of putting the pieces together as far as how that works and how it gets put together.
Well, there's
Elijah staying in the draft, and then the Alan Griffin kids coming aboard. But other than that, there's really been not a lot of news. I mean, there's like the Boeheim's Army stuff,
which is slow too,
coming out slowly but surely. But other than that, there really hasn't been much real, things that are actually occurring to talk about.
What do you think about the top 40 under 40 with Jerry?
I did see that.
I don't like it.
I don't know how they put that together, man. Like,
I know.
How do you look at these guys and like? I feel like a lot of it was based on playing career, like who you were as a player, as opposed to like measured success. Because how do you measure like who are these guys getting in recruits? Like who?
I feel like that's the only thing.
Yeah, I think it's recruits. I think it's that.
Yeah, but like, was there an established criteria? Was it spelled out? Or
it says so the 40 under 40 list. He's what is he? 23rd.
23rd.
But among assistant coaches, he's 8th.
Well, yeah, and 25 of them have head coaching jobs.
Yeah. And Greg Paulus was just on the outside looking in, and I know how much you love him. You put him on your Syracuse Football Mount Rushmore, which we're gonna James. We're gonna him and Troy Nunes up there, of course.
They're up there, man. Him and Hunt. Those are 3 of the best QBs to ever do it.
Perry Patterson
up there.
So,
and you gotta give credit to Gerg, man. He's one of the best head coaches to ever come through the program. I love how like guys on Twitter were like, "What? Like, why'd you pick those guys?" Like, what? I'm like, "Come on, man."
They don't know. They don't know you. They don't know James the Troll.
No, don't forget his Andrew Robinson.
Oh, a lot of Robinsons.
We'll table the Syracuse Football Mount Rushmore, but we'll do the basketball one here in a second.
Okay.
So here's a buy, seller, hold. Just popped in my head while we're talking about Jerry Mack. Buy, seller, hold. If you hold, you're a weenie, by the way. Which turns into, I'm just saying, man, it's too easy. I only got one, for crying out loud.
Then why isn't it an option?
I only got because I don't know because that's how you do it, I guess.
Oh, okay.
You know, if we're doing like 5 of them, maybe you get one hold.
It's an option. So if someone
If you
holds,
wanna
make fun of them, right? Is that what it is? Called weenie.
Yeah, if you want to hand over the man card, then you
make
hold.
you feel better about yourself. All right, let's go.
I mean, we want some real conversation. You can't just hold all the time. It's too easy. So
I'll stay.
So Jerry Mack will assume the head coaching position for Jim Boeheim when he retires.
Hey, man, that's... How many of these are we doing?
Just this one, I think.
Just this one? I think I gotta go home. I don't want to be that guy.
What did I just say?
Too soon. It's too soon to tell. I mean, like, when there's so much... There's too many variables around that question. Like, when does Jim step away? Is it in 2 years? Has he coached his last game all right? Is it in 2 years? Is it in 5 years? Does Jerry leave and take another job somewhere else?
That's what I'm afraid of.
You know, I mean, there's so many ways to look at this question, and we've all talked about it a lot, and I think it's definitely worthy of discussion. Like, what is the program without Jim? He's been there, 50 some odd years, really.
Right.
Yeah, with playing time and everything, right? Yeah.
Right.
So it is pushing 50 years.
But it's it's way too hard. It's way too soon to tell. I think he's definitely in that conversation. There's a few other guys like within the quote unquote Syracuse basketball family that would definitely be in consideration. I think they'll go that way. Although I think they should open it up and, see who's interested nationally and who's available at the time.
Yeah.
But he's definitely one of those guys in that conversation. For sure.
I saw an argument on Facebook when I posted the article about it. About I think it was someone was, I forget who it was. They were trying to push Patino. It's Chris on Facebook was trying to push a bid for. You'll sell that all day?
I'll sell Patino all day and twice on Sunday.
Not a fan, huh?
I mean, what's the value? Like, he's got the baggage with him.
That's it. Yeah. That's it. I mean, he's a great coach. He's a great coach, but it's the baggage, and plus he's got a Louisville tattoo. So
yeah.
I mean,
right.
So I feel like I'm gonna buy.
You're gonna buy, okay?
I'm
Jerry or Rick?
No, Jerry.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Rick ain't.
I was changing the subject. Yeah, I want to get Rick. I want to get rid of Rick. But the thing is that again, it's gonna. Fans are gonna be just kind of split with this, right? And really, that was the one question when I was thinking about Mike Hopkins. Like Jim Boeheim, great. What they built, Carmelo coming in, helping with the Melo Center after they won the championship, just 2-3 zone and everything like this, but. With Mike Hopkins becoming that coach when he was the coach in waiting, was that guaranteed another how many years of this 2-3 zone? I guess my thing is that as a school in Syracuse, as a fan of Syracuse, do you want to just forever see this 2-3 zone different kind of basketball, or are we going to use our brand when Boeheim's gone and change it up with some up and coming guy?
I think
use the brand. Like, we're still a top 10, top 15 brand where when Boeheim's gone, you can bring in another guy to come in and change it up. But if you bring in Hopkins, you bring in Red Autry, you bring in Jerry McNamara, that's just a guy that played for him that's still going to continue this 2-3 zone, and it's going to have to, and they're going to have to live up to his expectations. That's a tough act to follow. So, I mean, it's hard to answer the question because, Jerry McNamara, who knows if he wants to stay there? I mean, he's from Scranton. I know he likes the area. Syracuse never really left, so I'm sure he might want to presume that, and I buy it because of lists like this and the fact that his name is going to rise up. He is the main recruiter of Dior, and if they start getting more guys to make this class look really, really good, and Boeheim goes out with a lot of good recruits from Jerry in the next couple of years, then he's going to be the hot guy on campus, and it would be dumb not to. But my question as a fan is how long do we want this 2-3, this aura, this 2-3 over Jim Boeheim over the program? You know what I mean?
I don't know if you can do it after Jim Boeheim leaves. It's kind of like the signature thing. I mean, maybe you mix it in, but you have like a high, it's going to change. I don't think it stays the way it is. I just don't think. I think, first of all, I think it's too much pressure for the next guy coming in, especially if.
Well, watching Washington, it doesn't look that much different.
No. Well, I mean, you're right, but did Coach Hop play the 2-3 the entire time?
He mainly.
Did he a lot of it?
And I don't think anybody's going to be like exclusive, even under the Jim Boeheim coaching tree. I don't think anybody's exclusively play 2-3 zone. You know, we haven't seen it out of Autry or Jerry because they haven't had a head coaching job. But
right,
even guys like Ryan Blackwell, who coach at Liverpool, he plays the 2-3 zone. He probably favors the zone over man, but he splits between zone and man. And he plays it even a little bit differently than Jim. But yeah, I don't think anyone's going to be like predominantly 40 minutes a game exclusively play the 2-3 zone except when you're going to press. I don't think that's going to happen. But I do love that you bring up the 2-3 zone part because Syracuse fans complain about this to no end.
Yeah.
Say you shouldn't play it 40 minutes, but you know just as well as I do, if they brought in somebody from outside the family, they would be pissed if they didn't play a 2-3 zone. But like, show respect to Boeheim.
Yeah, 100%. And that's what I think is the crazy question, right? Because all the fans all the time, they complain about it, right? Yeah. But it's like they want that perfect little in between, right? Where you should play the 2-3 zone until it's not working and then do this, right? And it's they're always going to complain, but like you said, it's like you bring in somebody that completely changes. You bring in a Shaka Smart type guy that's going to come in and press and sub and play hard man to man. There'll be people complaining all day long about the 2-3 zone. So that's the one thing that's just it's going to be the huge question, because if you bring somebody under the family, I think that the fans will like it more, and obviously they'll be more comfortable. But then there's just that aura of having to, I mean, it's almost like, you know, a comedian or somebody that's on stage, right? And someone goes out and kills it, and then you need to go follow that. Like, that's a lot of pressure. So again,
that's what I was saying. It's too much pressure.
It's going to be interesting. Yeah. But with all that said, with all of the the spotlight on Jerry McNamara and the fact that he does seem like he's getting better with recruiting, and who knows, only time will tell if he can actually be a head coach. But obviously being on that list and being in the spotlight, if he's in that type of big spotlight and Boeheim goes and retires, then we would be dumb not to give that spot to him.
Let me ask you this. A lot of people assume like Jerry to be that guy, but what separates Jerry from Autry? Like, right. Jerry had a better playing career. He won a title. He's a more recognizable name. Legend is a player. Like, we all know that, right? Autry has had better success as a recruiter. Recruits the heck out of the DMV area. He's gotten so much talent out of there. Guys like Jeremy Grant and the like. He's recruited that area really well. He has other coaching experience as an assistant at Virginia Tech. So he has that under his belt as well. Jerry's only been on the Syracuse staff. But you know, what separates, like, why do people just assume it's going to be Jerry? And by no means am I throwing shade at Jerry. Like,
no, but you're right.
He would be a great hire. Like, if nobody outside didn't want the job, and if Mike Hopkins wants to stay at Washington, do his thing out there, I think Jerry would still be a great hire. But why do people assume that he's got it over someone like Autry?
Yeah, I mean, that's true, because that is, I mean, it's an under 40.
Well, yeah,
Autry's over 40, right?
He's 48. But besides that, this is a different subject, though.
Right, but again, what we're saying at the same time is that just because Jerry McNamara is on this list of coaches under 40, Adrian Autry is over 40, doesn't mean that he's not next in line or that he's not a better coach. It's just he happens to be over 40, and this list was under 40, and Jerry was on it. So, I mean, exactly what James said. It could be just that this is just a, you know, people are going to be triggered by the report because of, you know, under 40, because it doesn't, like he said, talk about Autry. But who's to say that Autry's not ahead of a list if it was just all the coaches?
Yeah, two different things. Two different things we're talking about.
Joe, would you bought or sold? I don't even remember. Your rambling answer went on for ever and ever. You could easily sell this one because of all the variables like James mentioned, but I would say, I'll make it a little bit more complicated and nuanced. If it's within Buddy's playing time, I would, once Buddy's gone, coach is gone as well, coach your son, get out. I would buy. If it extends past that, I would sell. So just because, with this list, okay, this is just, one of those things.
Didn't know you could do 2 answers.
Well, it's
You're
we're only
saying Buddy
James held for
Boeheim
crying
is
out loud. So
Buddy Boeheim is the next coach of the Syracuse Orange. That's what you're saying.
bye. So, there is a lot of variables, and we've humored this GMAC coach talk for a while. I don't want to see him leave. Like I would hate to have like another Hopkins type move. I feel like, it's just how Syracuse is. It's like it's our whole lives have been like this. What other team is just hired from within for going on 50 years?
Yeah.
Is there one? Is there another one?
It's so hard to know really what this program is without Boeheim.
I know.
Right? Because that's all like this is never going to happen again. Like it'll never happen. There will never be another coach even remotely close to what Jim Boeheim was like. He's created the program. He's built everything around. It's all been around Jim. So what is this program? How much is Syracuse Athletics willing to pay the next head coach? They've had Jim at a discount for how many years? And so much has changed throughout all the years. It's hard to really know what this program is without Boeheim.
Yeah, you're exactly right. So
I think that we as fans kind of underappreciate it, right?
I think once he leaves, people are really going to start to understand just how hard it is to win.
Right. I looked at the Noon's Magician, the report that John wrote up about the decades and stuff, right? About what's the better decade. And when you're looking at the past 4 decades, like we're making NCAA tournament 7-8 times out of every decade.
Yes.
There's teams out there that they go coach through coach, coaching carousel. They're hoping they make the NCAA tournament twice a decade, right?
Despite the recruiting issues and everything, there are so many issues, especially the past 10 years.
No, we've had 2 different times when we've had NCAA sanctions and all the things that have happened. Just to have one coach that whole time, and like when you always hear every team talk about, preach family, preach this, preach that. Well, it's hard to preach family when it's a coaching, carousel and it's just in and out the door. This guy's proven since the mid 70s, right? That like he's been there, and every player, they're so comfortable just going back home. And I just think that it's something that's underappreciated and it doesn't happen often. And that's why it's a lot greater than what people actually think that it is, because it gives you a safe sense of like comfort and like just confidence as far as the team goes. And whenever there's so much change, that just becomes tumultuous, and God, fans hate that. So I just think that, like you said, it's like we want it to be Mike Hopkins or Red Autry or Jerry McNamara to keep it going, right? To keep the family and the whole thing going, because this is our comfort level. This is what we're comfortable with. It's been our whole lives. It's been like that since before we were all born. Actually, it's been like that. It's all we know. So to switch from that and to get an outsider, not only will he be sneered at, but that talk about pressure. That may be more pressure. That's true. You know what I'm saying? That's a tough job. Yeah. This is a tough. This fan base is tough. Yeah, it's a very tough job. Yeah. Very tough. So, and going to James, like, there's going to be a lot of money to bring somebody new in. So. Yes, because private school, the funds just aren't there to get a top caliber coach. Like, Boeheim could be making so much more money somewhere else. You know what I'm saying? Yep. That's definitely a huge part of it. So, well, that was our struggles with football. Really, we're so lucky to have Babers, in my opinion. At this point. All right. Let's switch gears. Let's do our Syracuse Basketball Mount Rushmore. I'm going to do mine first because I saw mine pop up quite a bit. I don't know if y'all have been looking at this. Joe maybe has. James? I looked at it a little bit, yeah. Is it yours based upon history or based upon your life? What do you mean? Well, you get people out there that put Dave Bing, but they never seen him play. So I'm wondering if you're picking it off of your. I'll explain mine. Mine's sentimental. So, coach, obviously, and I put in here, is coach a given? It's kind of a rhetorical question, folks. I wasn't saying it wasn't a given. It was just
seeing if there were people who didn't have him in there. So, believe it or not, there are a lot of people who do not like Coach. But whatever. Like Eric. Eric says, well, hold on. I'll go over that in a second. Mine is Coach, Melo. Obvious reasons for Melo. Pearl. I think Pearl, he was the number one recruit in the country when he was recruited by Boeheim. Boeheim's first huge recruit. Paved the way. He's and I got to be honest, I don't really remember watching Pearl play, like sitting down and watching him play, but he did pave the way, and he was the first one. He was the one that brought these huge crowds into the Dome. Like, he was exciting, and the things he did, the way his ball handling, all this stuff. I mean, just go watch tape of him. He's freaking brilliant. There wasn't a defense that could stop him bringing the ball up. Full court press, it didn't matter. And plus, the half court shot, which will always be awesome. And then Derek Coleman was like my first favorite Syracuse player, football or basketball. It's the first name I ever really glommed onto was Derek Coleman, man. He was huge. He was a first-round draft pick in the NBA, rookie of the year in the NBA in 91 or whatever it was. I mean, he was awesome. And he was all-time scoring leader until Moten came around, right? And he's still second. So I don't know how you don't put Coleman in there. And that's just me. Melo gave us the championship, Pearl, and Coach. That's my four. Someone else's turn.
Well, okay, I'll just go because mine's very similar. I only have one difference. Obviously, Coach for a reason. We just talked about it ad nauseum about his longevity here and what he has done to the university program community. Melo, obviously, because of the fact that he brought us a national championship. Pearl Washington, just because of what he did as far as the timing of him coming from New York City, ESPN, Big East. I mean, that could have been the reason why we had the Derek Colemans and the teams of those, right? And then instead of Derek Coleman, I would go, and a lot of it has to do with because this is one of my first memories as far as like being a fan, because I was a little bit younger than you, so I don't really remember watching Derek Coleman in them. But Lawrence Moten, the fact that he held the Big East scoring record until
just a couple years ago, right? Or was it this past year?
No, just this past year. Okay. Yeah, Marcus Howard from Marquette. I'll tell you what, Lawrence Moten didn't gun nearly as much as this guy did, shooting double-digit threes a game. So he really tried. Really had to try to beat that record. But yeah, Lawrence Moten to me because of that. That would be mine.
In Lawrence Moten, I mean, that's a good one, Joe. And for the same reasons I chose Derek Coleman, you chose Moten. But with Jerry Mack with an honorable mention from me too.
Coleman was close because it's hard to deny wasn't he a number one pick?
He was a number one draft pick in the NBA, yeah.
Right. So it's hard to not deny that.
And rookie of the year.
But I look at Lawrence Moten as when I'm looking at Syracuse-wise and what he did for Syracuse and being the all-time scorer in Big East and stuff.
Yeah,
so.
But, Coleman was up there until Moten came around.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, oh yeah, I know.
James.
So my four are very similar. And you could argue a lot of, there's a handful of guys
there's a
that
bunch.
You can really argue to be in that top four. But first, Boeheim, I think you definitely have to put Jim Boeheim in there. I think he's the most unique Hall of Fame coach at the college level of all time. I don't think there's anybody like him. I don't think it'll ever happen again the way that it's happened at Syracuse.
Yeah.
But think about it, like this kid came to Syracuse as a walk-on, worked his tail off to, eventually get in the starting lineup. Stays with the university as an assistant, goes on, gets the head coaching job at a relatively young age, and stayed true to one university, to one place. It's never going to happen again.
Nope.
And the way that Syracuse really rose through the Big East from really nothing through the Big East and then all the way on through with all the guys that came through after, I don't think it's ever going to happen again in the same way. So I think, obviously the accomplishments speak for themselves. He's been to Final Fours across 5 different decades. If you count the first one as an assistant. So you've got 60s, 70s,
80s. You made the championship in 80.
Oh, no.
No, I think it's 70s, right?
70s, 80s, 87,
yeah,
96, 2003, and then 13 and 16. And I just don't think it's ever going to happen again in quite the same way. 44 years without a losing season, so that speaks for itself. But to put a bow on it, I would go with Pearl just because of what he meant to the program early. I should have said Bing first, but I think it's Boeheim and Bing, and then Pearl just because of everything that happened with the Big East, making Syracuse nationally relevant, everything that happened after that. And I'm going to put Melo. I think you could argue against him just because he's 1 year.
1 year, yeah.
And that would be the argument against him. Like he was only there 1 year, but he brought Syracuse a title, everything that it meant to the university, to the city, and then also with the Melo Center. I mean, I think that's huge just to have his name on that practice facility.
True.
Kids know Melo. He's become almost like iconic in a way that also couldn't really be done at another university, I feel like. But like the Melo jersey is now kind of vintage, like the Syracuse Melo jersey. He's just sort of been like iconic and like that poster child for Syracuse and for like college basketball, and like the one and done model. Like he's kind of like the poster boy for that. Yeah. So that would be my 4. Those would be my 4.
All right.
Huge recruiting tool, that Melo Center, by the way.
Yeah,
and he
it's state
definitely put a lot of money into that. So.
Yeah.
And a championship. That's
we got. Let's see. There are so many of these, you guys, and there's so many combinations. But let's see. Eric has Coleman. He says Coleman, and then I said, well, there's 3 more to go. And he says, oh, damn. Okay.
You could argue like John Wallace. You could argue, like a Billy Owens, like all these guys. There's so many guys that you could throw into that conversation.
He also put in G-Mac, Mello, and Howard Trish. So Howard, he doesn't give a reason for Howard Trish, but he throws him in there. Let's see.
Okay.
Andrew.
I don't think you could argue Howard Trish, but
there's a bunch you can't argue, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
no disrespect to Howard Trish. I just don't think he's one of the.
But I mean, whatever. Maybe it was one of the first ones he remembers or something like that.
I'm putting Frank Howard on that. Frank Howard's going up there.
I could understand G-Mac based upon like a fan favorite, right? But,
yeah, that's why he's my honorable mention. I mean, what he's done, he's still there coaching, and obviously we just talked about a lot about him. There's a great argument to keep him in there.
Because if I wanted my fan favorite, John Wallace would be in mine. If I went with my from.
Let's do that. Why don't we do that?
Fan favorite.
Your fan favorite, top 4.
All right.
Well, I'm saying probably from what I remember seeing, right? The players I remember seeing, like that was like right there. I was 13, 14, right into sports, and it was the Cuses in the house, 96, like.
Can we do our top 4 like fans? Like
see, yeah, we can. I can just spit mine out real quick.
All right.
Okay. So Derek Coleman, G-Mac. I love Eric Devendorf.
Hey.
I just do. I love the attitude, man. I love it. I love it. And then man, there's so many. I loved CJ Fair too, but I'm gonna go a little bit older, and that's tough. The last one's tough. I mean, Stevie Thompson. I loved him back in the day when I was a kid.
God, you're so old.
But Billy Owens. That was that whole Derek Coleman era. Billy Owens, Ronnie Cycli. Oh gosh, I love Ronnie Cycli. Sherman Douglas. Yeah. So
Billy Owens.
Damn.
How did they not win a championship?
My mom loved JB Reef Snyder. Joe and I were just talking about
JB Reef Stinker. That's what I called him.
But I'll throw in Moten on my last one, man, just because of what he accomplished. I love that. So that's my 4. That's tough. Doing your favorite is tough. It's really tough. Go ahead, James.
First, number 1, Andy Routins.
I loved Andy.
Kind of for the reason that Sean mentioned, like he was, I was in middle school when he was coming up at SU, and like I watched him play at JD. So he was kind of like the local kid, like the white hope, you know what I mean? That like went on and accomplished and, you know, had success at Syracuse.
Sniper.
And yeah. So Andy is number one for me. That's when I was just like really getting into basketball and all that. 2 would be James Sutherland, because I just love like his personality, man. He was so funny. Like just hearing the stories, like I think Donna covered him pretty well, but like he would cluck like a chicken, like when he wanted the ball, and like he would fart on the court sometimes, like that. Just awesome. And he's like also just like a sniper. So James is up there. This one won't be popular with people, but Frank Howard, just because
he's in New York City, right?
What's up?
He's from New York City, right?
No, he's from DC.
Oh, okay.
But he was the first player I ever interviewed, and he was like really cordial, really open, and like even throughout his time at Syracuse, he was always really honest with me. Like I would ask him questions, and he would say things where you're like, he's not just saying it to say it. Like he would say things sometimes where you're like, that he really means that. Like some guys just kind of like tell you the right thing or tell people what they want to hear. Frank was always kind of honest, so I appreciated that.
Yeah.
Those 3 guys, and then lastly, I'll probably go with like Queth Duaney. Like he was my favorite player on the national championship team, which not a lot of people really like recognized him or even think about him when they think about that team. But him and then like Josh Pace was a close sport.
Joe loves some Josh Pace.
JP.
I do. I was a big fan of Josh Pace, absolutely. He'd probably be there close and like right in the spot where James was. But if I had to do my 4, it's again, a lot of it goes down to not necessarily the best players, but how long they stayed, right? I mean, because I loved Carter Williams, Deion Waiters, but you know, when you're only staying a couple years, right?
Yeah.
So probably I think the only guy that's on the list that didn't stay all 4 years is Johnny Flynn.
Hey.
He just, to me, like I just loved everything about his game, and when he used to dunk and take, you know, when he dunked on that dude from Rutgers was just ridiculous.
Yeah,
so and just the way that he played. Oh, bro,
that's so good.
Just the way that he played with his intensity and everything. Yeah, absolutely. Like he willed us to wins in seasons when we didn't have very good teams, and
we didn't even know he could dunk when he did that. Like I had no idea.
Mike Rosario was the guy.
So Mike Rosario, really? that was their 5-star guy.
Mm-hmm.
That was when Rutgers was actually okay back in the rack.
Yep.
Right. So, but Jerry McNamara would be on there, obviously because of everything that he went through too. I mean, just crazy games and everything. John Wallace because of the childhood and being younger. And then again, like I said before, I mean Lawrence Moten. That was the first team that I remember, like that team after Billy Owens last year and all those guys, and when you had some other guys, I think like Dave Johnson and but I remember that stuff. But and Lawrence Moten was just the guy there. So again, there's other guys there. I love CJ Fair. I love Devendorf, but those would be my 4. I like Brandon Trish too. Yeah,
I mean, you could go.
There's so many, man. Yeah, I mean, Jason Hart was one of another guy that was just real fun to watch for me. So, Ayo Onuaku, good guy. Ran into him a couple times down in Armory Square. So overall,
yeah, it's tough.
I mean, there's a lot of good ones. It's tough, man.
The basketball one is tough. All right, so James, you are, as I mentioned, you look like a caveman, and you've been in quarantine for quite some time now. So you got to be like, I know I mentioned that, restaurants are opening here and everything like that, and it just is like, I don't think the only thing that wasn't normal around here, to be honest with you, was like I couldn't go out to eat, and we could always do pickup, but I couldn't go out to eat, and we couldn't go, to the beach or whatever, the closed beaches for whatever reason, even though you socially distance there, like anyway. But
no, I don't like the arrows in the aisles at the stores.
Yeah, it's a little creepy. Yeah. But what's it like, in New York City, James? I mean, are you ready to like lose it or what?
Oh man, ready to lose? I lost it already, man. I don't think I'm beyond ready to lose it.
Really?
Nah, I'm doing okay. Like, like all things considered, keeping it in perspective, I'm fine. But sitting in an apartment by yourself for 2 months with
oh my gosh,
nothing but like virtual interaction with people definitely lends itself to going a little stir crazy. So I've just been trying, like, on the weekends, I'm close to Central Park, so like I'll get to the park and obviously I have like masks and stuff and like all that, but just sitting outside in the sun and like reading a book or something like that, man, like that's been like a huge reprieve. And then I've just been loading up on like Netflix. I've been playing video games. I've been playing like Fortnite. I downloaded like the Final Fantasy VII remake. I was like playing that for a while. So I've just been trying to stay busy. In like any way possible outside of work. And then here it's actually like if you watch on TV, they're going to show you like Times Square and like Midtown and it's empty, but actually up by me it's actually still kind of like, I don't want to say bustling, but it's still pretty busy up by me. Like every time I go outside there's still people walking around. There's always cars going up and down like the avenues and stuff, so it's not as bad up here. Like it's not as desolate as they make it seem to be in like Midtown, but New York City still kind of in like shutdown mode. We're still on pause for another 2 weeks.
What are you doing for eggplant parmesan right now?
And
what are you doing?
I've had to part ways. I've had to part ways with eggplant parm for now.
Uh-oh.
I've been sitting around like I've been ordering a lot of salads because I've been just sitting around getting fat. Like I can't go to the gym. I can't, like, the only exercise I get is when I go outside and walk. And I ordered some elastic bands, so I've been doing like the elastic band workouts and stuff like that, but I've been trying not to eat too much pasta or any of that stuff just because I'm going to put on like 20 pounds if I do.
the COVID-19, right?
No.
You got
the COVID-19.
The freshman 15 and the COVID-19.
Yeah.
Well, James, I'll tell you what, you're a patient guy, buddy.
Yeah, I'd have been.
Think that it's like this everywhere else, because I mean, we talked earlier. I mean, for a guy with options, I would have been gone. I mean, it's a difference between, but there's a lot of places where you can still go out and do stuff, and it's, if you got options, man, and they're going to still play games for a couple more months, then do what you got to do, man.
Hey,
save your sanity, please. Do what you got to do.
James, do me a favor too. And I don't know if I could do it, but like I said, I've been going to work every day. I wear a mask inside people's homes and all that stuff, but everything has pretty much been normal, like except for going out to eat, like I said, or going to the gym or the beach or whatever. But look, so NASCAR starts up tomorrow. NASCAR starts back up. I just ask that you just give it a shot, James. Give it a shot. And there's nothing else to do, literally. Right?
My buddy texted me today. He's like, "Will you watch it?" And I was like, "Honestly, like, I really might. Like, I'll probably tune in because there's nothing else on. It's better than, watching like the Korean Baseball League or cherry spitting contest or whatever else ESPN."
Well, why did they ever stop golf? I feel like, why did golf stop?
That is the ultimate social distancing. I mean, aren't they having a playoff right now or a match?
Are they? I don't know.
Ricky Fowler and a couple of guys. I know that they're doing what is it? It's Tiger Woods and Peyton Manning are playing against Phil Mickelson and Tom Brady.
Oh, that should be fun.
In a partner matchup. I know they're doing that. So, and I know UFC just started up. I don't know if you watch UFC, James, but those are about the only two major sports that are opened up is UFC and NASCAR come tomorrow.
Both hardcore sports.
Stuff.
Both hardcore sports, by the way. I'm just
tell these golfers, man, to just man up, get your own cart, carry your own bag, socially distance, and play your 18 holes.
Yeah, what the hell? Golf courses never shut down around here.
Quit being pampered, quit being soft.
No, there's still people golfing here.
So what are you watching on Netflix, James? I hate to turn like this is the ultimate. This is the essential, podcast these days, which we've never really done. But I mean, I'm even hitting up the Netflix, and not much has really changed for me. In fact, I'm probably busier at work now than I normally am. But like, I've been hitting up the Netflix, man. So, I finished up Ozark, the last season there. That I finished up The Last Kingdom. If you ever watched Game of Thrones, The Last Kingdom is awesome.
I've heard that. From you.
Yeah, from me. So what have you been hitting up on Netflix, James?
So
I'm taking recommendations.
Some of it's been outside of it. So I've been watching like outside of Netflix. I've been watching like the Jordan doc, like everybody else.
Oh yeah,
except for me.
No, not Sean.
I got
Yeah, I know.
So
He's ridiculous.
hold on.
No. I'm going to talk about this because
Hold
James,
on. Hold on. We're gonna let James finish his answer first.
He doesn't accept the NBA as a sport.
No,
he doesn't even know what it is. He pretends like he doesn't know what it is, James.
What's the NBA?
Yeah, exactly.
Here's the thing.
Wait.
Can I?
But he's trying to get you to watch NASCAR, right?
Hold on.
Crazy.
Let me.
This guy, man.
Hold on.
The nerve.
I am going to watch that. I'm going to watch it. But here's the thing. I don't watch TV unless sports is on. My TV's off. Like, I just don't. So
the Jordan documentary doesn't qualify as sports.
No. What is it on? What is it on?
ESPN.
Okay, it's on ESPN. All right. Okay. Well, when I found out about the Jordan documentary, it was already started. I figure, well, I'll get it after it's done, because I've watched clips. I'm very interested in it. I loved Michael Jordan. He was huge when I was a kid. All right?
Man, you backpedal faster than you run forward.
No, Joe, screw you. Screw you. It's the truth. I just tell the truth. I don't watch the NBA. I will watch that. I have not watched a minute of it. I didn't even know what it was on. I did search for it on Netflix, and I realized, this isn't a Netflix thing. It must be on cable. My TV's not on. Unless there's live sports on, my TV's usually off. Unless the kids are watching, whatever they're watching. I don't usually.
The Last Dance?
No, my kids aren't watching The Last Dance, you jerk.
I now know two people that are not watching The Last Dance.
Oh, boy.
You and my mom.
Your mom's a class act.
I bet you if you ask Dylan, he knows.
I'll bet you Dylan has no idea. The kid has been playing video games for the past 2 months. Probably has no idea.
What's he play?
He plays Fortnite. He plays...
Okay. My man.
A lot online Madden, online MLB.
Okay.
Those are his top 3.
Okay.
What do you play on, James? Are you an Xbox or a PlayStation 4 kind of guy? Huh?
I'm a PS4 guy,
yes!
but like with Fort,
yes,
with Fort, you can play cross-platform. So I got buddies that play like Xbox, and we'll get on. So we'll do like cross-platform. But a couple of my
I can't do Fortnite, man.
Nah, it's.
I don't like the building, man.
Yeah, it's like the number one thing you have to be able to do is build, and some guys are just so crazy with it, like.
Oh, my son.
I'm okay with it, but man, some of these guys are just.
God, I've seen the end product of these games, and it's ridiculous. It's like a spaceship up into the sky. I don't even know what exactly that is, but
it's crazy.
So I'm still playing NCAA basketball 2010 on PS3.
That's become like vintage too. Like people are really like they desire to play like all the old NCAA football and basketball games. People have been doing.
Yeah, I have 2013 football. In 2010 basketball, and
nice.
My PS3 basically fried. It's just so old, it fried. And my wife went out and bought me one for Christmas. Like she went to GameStop or whatever and bought me one for Christmas so I could keep playing my NCAA games. It's the only thing I play on there. Because that NCAA basketball 2010 is still a good game. It's still a really good game.
Because there hasn't been one after. I mean, I was a PlayStation guy all the way to PlayStation 2, right? And then they started the PS3 Xbox thing, and I ended up getting a ridiculous deal for an Xbox 360 from a guy who needed some money. So I turned into Xbox, right?
You need bail money?
Halo and stuff like that, and then I went right back to PS4 right after that. So, but I do have the RG3, the last like the Heisman college football or whatever that they had, and then with PS4, I'm playing Madden, the show. Nice. You ever heard of Realm Royale?
No.
I thought that was I've heard of that. I thought that was an iPhone game though.
No, it's a cross-platform kind of like Fortnite, but not building.
Yeah.
There's no building involved,
Yeah, that's the one my brother plays.
Well, he did play.
Oh, he got sick of it because he probably played it to oblivion.
Yeah, that's what he does. Yeah.
Well, right. Yeah, I just my kid hogs the PlayStation, so I don't get a ton of time on it. But I got a 5-year-old that he kicks my ass in Plants vs Zombies. I'm like, when did I get so bad at video games? I used to sweep the floor, mop the floor with these kids, and now my 5-year-old's kicking my ass in Plants vs. Zombies, and he begs me to play with him just so he could whoop me. And I'm like, no, I'm done. I'm not doing this anymore.
They're a lot more complicated than Tecmo Bowl.
Yeah, I'm like, my guy's like, it's that kind of like, well, it's second person view, but it's up close. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I'm all over the place. I can't aim, and he just comes up and just destroys me. But I'm like, Cole, let's you and I be on the same team. How about that? And he's like, all right, fine. So I let him do all the work. But those games are hard, man. I tried playing Fortnite exactly one time. One time. I couldn't do it, man. I'm sorry. My skill set isn't there. And you know what else is not there is my patience. Because I can't do my oldest son, he goes up and builds and then builds a platform and then shoots down and builds walls. So it's happened so fast. I'm like, you know what?
Oh, yeah.
I don't even want to take the time to learn how to do this because yes, I don't have the time to learn all this. It's too much. So, have fun.
Yeah, that's like if I was in a situation like James where like I didn't have I had to work from home, but then there's so much it probably affects even how much you've been writing, right? Like, there's not a lot of news. Would you still be, would you be writing more now or,
if outside of this, I would be writing more. Like, I don't know if I'm alone in this, but ever since the season ended and even up until now, I've really been like checked out. I don't know.
Yeah.
You're not alone.
I don't really know why that is, because usually I'll be checked out for a little while because it's like after the season I'm tired, I want to rest and just get back to like normal life, get in the gym, all that. I've really been checked out the whole time, and maybe that's just because we're not in a normal circumstance, but
yeah,
in ordinary circumstances I would probably be writing a little bit more, but I found like, and maybe this is just me, like I'm really having a hard time like writing like the hypothetical stuff, like
yeah,
you know what I mean? Like I just need like, things to write about, like
right,
like Boeheim's Army. I could write about that because it's something that's actually going to happen, or like a kid transferring or stuff like that. Like I could do that, but it's hard to like, what if this happened and what if
to write something on speculation, right? Yeah, it's just.
Yeah,
I get it.
It's and you know what though, too, James, because it not only is it hard to write, but it's not much fun to read. I gotta be honest.
Yeah.
No.
It's not much fun to read. I mean, give me the news and I'm okay, and I'm with you, kind of like checked out. Like it's just been so freaking long. And I watch virtual racing with these guys, real NASCAR drivers racing on their computers. I've been watching this, and it's actually kind of like been nice. It's the only thing that I've had, but I'm a huge NASCAR fan. I don't see someone like Joe. I know you've tried it out, but I don't see like someone like James. Like I would just be like, I'd be checked out too, man. I'd be. And all of the things that we did, and we did these things, we did all these tournaments and the brackets, and it was just because we had the time. Right. There's nothing else to do. You want to put out content. We want to have fun with the show, and to be honest with you, some good things came out of this. Like we used to only talk, just Syracuse sports. That's it. Yep. That's what we're gonna do. And I had a listener of ours tell me, James, that, and this is how it goes. I had a listener of ours tell me that he heard you on our show, so he started listening to you on Noon's Magician, and he was listening to all your podcasts there. And then one time you weren't on there, and he's like, I can't even listen to this. Because he didn't have the voice recognition. He couldn't hear James. He's like, man, I can't even listen to this. So... once you get that familiarity with the who you listen to and everything like that, and then you can kind of branch off. And Joe and I are kind of realizing that, like, we don't always have to talk about Syracuse sports. Like, it doesn't always have to be like that, because we've been doing it long enough. But without,
I can talk about any sports.
Well, right, but without this whole thing coming along, there's always something.
Well, I think in the beginning, right, it was like, okay, we're missing out on the tournament. It's only going to last a month. So, okay, this is cute. Like,
Right,
let's do the brackets. Let's do the brackets on social media. And, you know, something to fill our time for a month before we get back to normal, right? And now it's just like most people are looking for substance. Like, if I'm trying to read something at this point, I'm looking for substance. If I see, like you talked about, it's just some theoretical kind of something on speculation, I'm kind of like, oh, this is filler. This is just time filler at this point. And like, it's getting old. The first month, okay, I get it. But now it's like, come on. And I'm a type of person where like, I'm a sports guy. I'm addicted to sports. Like through and throughout, even in the slow season baseball, I don't watch baseball, but I love fantasy baseball, right? I always have something that I'm looking forward to as far as sports goes. And it's just weird because I'm doing my everyday and like, I'll be sitting there and something's off. And I don't really know what it is. I can't even explain it. It's just something is off. And it's like, and as sad as it might sound, I think it's the sports and it's just the irregularity of what is going on. And I just wish that this would end. And that's why I'm grasping onto anything. I mean, I'm doing free DraftKings contests of simulated Madden games. I mean, let's talk about this you know what I mean? Like, it's not like I'm spending money. It's not like I'm, you know, but if I'm bored, that's what I'm doing. Or watching iRacing, right? Or now that UFC finally came back, Dana White is sprinting to try to get all these ESPN fights in so he can and I'm loving it, right? And with NASCAR tomorrow, I mean, it's just starting to, maybe I'll start feeling better this week, but it's just been a weird times, man. Did
you guys hear Dave Portnoy's rant on Twitter?
Oh yeah.
Oh, you didn't? Oh,
I don't follow Barstool. I don't really. I don't really keep up with like Barstool and what they do. I try not to follow Barstool.
I don't either. But I think, like, I'll watch a Dave Portnoy pizza review any day of the week. And I mean, that's just how I am. But yeah, I mean, he went on. He's like, enough of this. Let's time to change gears here. But it's been tough, man. And you're gonna start to see, you know, like you, James, like you're ready to get out, right? I don't know if we talked about this on the air or if it was before we started recording.
I'm chomping at the bit, man.
You're ready to get the hell out of there.
Yeah.
Your mom's in Florida. I would be in Florida yesterday. Like. You know what I'm saying? But I know it's tough because you're doing all your work from home anyway, right?
Yeah, it's been tough. You know, we're all remote. I think to your earlier point, like so much has changed, and I think we're still learning things. And I think a lot of like you're learning, like you don't always have to talk about Syracuse sports on the pod, right?
Yeah,
it's, you know, I think a lot of workplaces are changing, and like we're unique. We're not, you know, that's not unique to us, but. You know, I think people are understanding that you can work from home now. Like, you know, you can work from home and get things done. Is it as efficient? No, definitely not. Like, communication's definitely lost. You know, sometimes you just need to turn to your colleague and say, hey, what's this? Or you know, vice versa, and be able to actually see and communicate next to it. But we're learning a lot through this, and I think a lot's going to change, you know, maybe with like office spaces. Maybe we see that come down. You know, people are going to start to turn more online and things like that. But yeah, man, I'm chomping at the bit to get out. Though I think it's going to continue like this for a while, and I think, you know, I might head up to Syracuse, and you know, my parents still have a place up there, so it'd be, you know, just like turning the water on and, you know, getting things set up there. So I might do that, or I might go down to Florida because it doesn't really matter where I work from at this point, and I think. At least in New York City, it's going to be like this for a little while, it sounds like. So I'm chomping at the bit to get out and just have something, you know, some sort of semblance of normalcy or a new normal, whatever it is. But just, you know, just to get some of the things back that were lost and get to living somewhat of a normal life here sometime soon.
Yeah, and, you know, basically just starting the sports back up and slowly. And you know, we'll see. I'm still a little bit worried just because of this. Syracuse is not New York City. Okay, no. And the blanket policies have to be dissected a little bit. Like, there shouldn't be blanket policies for the state. But I mean, when you look at sports and you look at, you know, having obviously Syracuse football coming up and being in New York, it does worry me a little bit. Like, I know that they're optimistic about this, and I think it should go, but I mean, who am I? I mean, I want to watch sports, so I have a biased opinion about it. But I mean, once it became a political thing, like I don't even know what's what anymore. You know what I'm saying? And it's too bad because it is a serious thing. But do we need to lock down like the way that like California and New York City are doing? Oh wait, I don't have any idea. Well, I mean, I do have an idea, but it's just that's me. I just think I don't know if I'd be able to handle it being in your situation, James. So
yeah, it's tough. Like you have to keep it in perspective. Like you really feel for the people that have had this. You feel for the people that have lost loved ones and are suffering to the worst degree. People like me, like, okay, yeah, I'm a little stir crazy. My mood's down. Like, if that's all that I have to worry about, I'd say I'm doing okay. Like keep it in perspective. But in certain areas, like New York City or like Cali, like you really have to be responsible because these are human lives we're talking about that are being lost, and it is serious. I don't know that there's a uniform way to look at this, or like at least in New York, we've had like the set of 7 criteria. This is what you need. Let's open up responsibly. Let's do it in phases. Let's do it smart. There's no like one correct. There's no silver bullet to this thing where it's not going to spread, or So I just think we have to be responsible and conscientious, and hopefully we can do it like the best way that we can going forward. But it's tough as it relates to football. These guys are going to want to play. Like there's too much money on the line, I think, for them not to try to get the ball rolling here. And you get into all sorts of issues like, okay, if we have the student athletes on campus, does that mean we have to have the students on campus? That right? Like you can't say we're going to keep all of the students at home doing virtual classes while the student athletes are on campus, or do you? And then you open yourself up to all this criticism, right? So it's
no, there's essential students.
Well, that's when then they would be admitting like this is not amateurism. Like if these kids are on campus, they're here helping us make money for the sport.
Yep.
This is not amateur. You know what I mean? So you're caught in the NCAA. You know what I'm saying? Like,
oh yeah,
caught in your predicament. But I think, just generally speaking, I think they're going to try to do everything they can in their power to make football happen.
Well, I think that we're going to learn. Well, I agree. I think football happens. I do. Yeah. I do think even if
back, right, facilities are opening up. NFL.
Yeah. And as long as you do it smart, and maybe you don't have fans, or maybe you go half capacity, or I don't know. I mean, tape some chairs up, leave some space. I mean, I don't know. However you want to do it, but you can't. We have to make a move here. We can't live like this. This is getting to the point of,
Yeah. Well, we don't know enough about it, but I think we know enough to be able to start to open things up. And I think that this opens up the eyes a lot of more of, like what James was talking about, personal responsibility when it comes to hygiene, when it comes to personal space, when it comes to awareness of these kind of things. There's a lot of people and a lot of people out there that don't really do that. They don't respect that kind of thing. Don't even really think about it. Right. So I think that that's the one thing that's going to change more than anything is that, and the fact that like, you just have to realize that like being on top of, when you're living on top of each other in big cities like LA and New York, then, you got to be way more like just on top of sorry, I was about to swear as far as,
you got very close there.
It's one of those things where it's surprising to me that you have to go out and tell people that they have to wash their hands and they have to do all these things because that's something that I just.
Yeah, you would think people would like wash their hands after going to the bathroom and stuff like that, but I don't know. Some people don't. But yeah, it's a complex. It's so complex, and like you say in the city like New York or LA, like especially in New York where you have public transportation. That's when it gets really complicated.
It never
a
shut
lot of
down.
other cities, people drive and you're in your car alone. okay, a little different when you're on a subway and you got people on top of one another and, people taking buses and, this, that, and the third. So,
yeah. How many people are holding that pole standing up, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the subway there never shut down. And maybe, we're talking about a 2-week hiatus from school, but the subway never shuts down. I mean, maybe that should have been, looking back in hindsight, seems ridiculous to me. I think it's absurd. They just started cleaning the subways like 3 weeks ago or something like that. When was it, James? Didn't they just do that recently? And they weren't cleaning them before then?
So that's the thing that's come out is like, why are you doing something now that should have been done all along? Like,
yeah.
No, the New York subway is not the cleanest place.
Oh, God.
That's the furthest thing from it. But, yeah, they've been cleaning the subways. But, man, and it's tough, too, because, you clean the subways every day. And should you clean the yes, you absolutely should clean the subway. But then, fares are going to rise and people are going to be upset when the fare rises. And, yeah, so it's not always such a simple world we live in. But, yeah, they should definitely clean the subways.
Oh, 100%. I mean, come on. And there's got to be a happy medium,
They
right?
probably should have. They probably should have started cleaning them in early March, would be my guess.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, and I think we're getting at that point where we're at that happy medium of trying to figure out, okay, yes, it's obviously there's the public health, right? But then there's the economy we have to worry about. And then there's the fact of sitting there doing, kind of what you're doing, just quarantining yourself. I mean, there's a lot of the newer cases of people that are getting this are people that are quarantining themselves. Because quarantining, I mean, it's kind of proven that it kind of hurts your immune system. It lowers your immune system. It makes it easier, more susceptible to get.
So does bathing in Lysol and hand sanitizer.
I'm just saying there's got to be a happy medium between the stuff, right? Like, what are we going to do? We're going to ruin our immune systems, ruin our economy, and for what? People are still going to get this, and people are unfortunately still going to pass away. So we got to figure out something and get this rolling, man. Yeah,
well, like I said, New York City isn't Syracuse. Syracuse should do their thing. Onondaga County should do their thing. Virginia Beach should do its thing. It's separate than Northern Virginia and the D.C. area. Things, the blanket policy stuff are just, this, whatever. This isn't a policy show, and we went down the rabbit hole, but just for James' sake, because he is in the worst place, it's just interesting to hear. Poor James. I mean, like, they're
That's me.
well, I mean,
I'm gonna be.
Yeah, I know, but it's got to be tough. And every time I hear like crazy news out in New York, I'm like, oh my gosh. It's got to be nuts living there. Like you put out a video the other day, just real quick, at 7 o'clock, everybody comes out and bangs pots and pans.
Yeah. So that's been one cool thing. Like, ever since the outbreak and every single night since, people have come out at 7 p.m. and they'll bang, pots and pans, car keys, whatever, and just cheer on and loud screams like for the healthcare workers. It's been really kind of like a unifying thing in a city that's always not so unified, where it's sometimes it could be like dog eat dog here. So it's been cool to see that. And a couple weeks ago, it was a Friday night. I went to one of the parks up here, and people were playing like Empire State of Mind and like all these New York songs, and it's been cool to see New York in a different light like that. Like, people have kind of, at least here, come together as much as you can come together under this thing, so to speak. Which isn't always how New York is thought of or represented. Yeah. So yeah, it's been cool. It's been cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, out of all bad, there's good. And I truly believe that. So there's always going to be something. I mean, I've got things in my own house that, have been blessings coming out of some of this stuff. So, I'm a believer in everything happens for a reason. And, whether or not it's some may believe it's overhyped or it's way politicized or it's this, that, or the other. It doesn't matter. It is what it is. And you got to take the good out of a lot of things. And, for New Yorkers to come together, it's kind of a big deal. So, but all right, we'll wrap it up there. James, thanks for the time, buddy. Appreciate it.
Always.
And when we get when we start to build up some more basketball news, I hope you'll come back. And obviously, when sports starts, check out some NASCAR tomorrow for me. Okay, all you gotta do is sit there, take a nap, wake up, it'll still be on. Promise you.
James, I used to be an anti-NASCAR guy, and him and his brother got me, man. They got me hook, line, and sinker, bro. So.
All right. I don't think I'll fall. I'm not going to fall for NASCAR, but I'll have it on. It'll at least be on the television. I might tune in a little bit. Two quick things. One, this. Always happy to come on. Always happy to do it. Two, I'm especially happy to do it now because I have nothing out. Literally nothing. So especially in these times, I'm more than happy to come on. So,
well, that's what I was going to say. It's just like if you're sitting there and you're like, dude, I don't want to do shit. Like
he is.
No, I knew it was going to happen. But anyway, if that happens, just hit us up because a lot of times we're sitting here like, oh, what are we going to do the next show? Well, we don't got enough news. And so if you want to just get on there and figure something out, then we can definitely do that stuff. No problem.
It was fun. Sean texted me last night and asked if I wanted to come on. And he asked me, and I'm like, what's funny? Like, I was going to text you and Joe and just see what you guys were doing. I think it was on a Wednesday. And it was throughout the workday, and I got caught up and sidetracked and doing other things. And then he texted me, last night and asked if I wanted to come on. So I thought it was funny. It was good timing. But yeah, as you guys know, I'm always happy to come on. Seriously, anytime.
Yeah, and I'm not on social. Joe's never on the Cuse Militia social media, and I'm only on it when I was posting stuff for the tournament stuff and the voting. And so I'm not even on there that much. I mean, if there's not games going on, I'm not hardly on there. You know, and it's just like
I don't want it to get with the messaging and everything. I don't want people to not know who they're talking to, right? So I just let you handle that. If we can't go in and out of answering messages.
That's me on Twitter begging for an edit button. I am extremely bad with the not proofreading my tweets and stuff because whatever gives a crap. I mean, when it comes down to it, who cares? Right? But Twitter should have an edit button. They really should. I know, right? I mean, I know people do what, James?
Like, I'll just fire off texts and not read. Whenever I text, I just try to get through the text as quick as possible.
Yeah.
And just shut it off.
Yeah.
So I know where you're coming from.
That's my tweet. That's my I just want to put it out there and be done with it. And here I am, and I don't know what's up with iPhone, but they autocorrect some things into some absurd stuff.
No, jeez.
It's so stupid. So anyway, all right, I digress. James, thanks. We'll have you back on soon. We'll just build something up. We'll make something up like we did today.
NASCAR's 15% exciting, 85% boring. The key is figure out those 15%. What races and when to watch. That's what the key is. That's it.
So I don't agree with those percentages. But there is truth to that some tracks are extremely boring. But Darlington, that's
pretty good.
The Lady in Black, the old school Southern 500 old track, it's fun. And they're not going to have any practice time, qualifying time, or anything like that. Okay?
And they've been chomping at the bit, too.
Yeah, they've been chomping at the bit. They got no practice time, no qualifying, nothing. So they're going to unload the cars and they're going to race. Should be exciting. So
screw this iRacing and letting Billy Byron win every race.
Yeah, I know. The iRacing champ. So, all right. I appreciate it. For Joe and James, I'm Sean. We're out.
Thanks for listening to the Cuse Militia Podcast, the fan's voice with Sean and Joe.